The City of Takoma Park has an ambitious climate change plan. We're looking at reducing and coming to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2035. And we're going to do this by looking at 4 different goals. One is decarbonizing our existing buildings. Second is promoting alternative modes of transportation locally. Third is advocating for changes in transportation infrastructure. And fourth is to work collaboratively in our region to reach a 100% renewable electric grid. So I have long admired in the European Union how their cities and public spaces are really designed with pedestrian and bicyclist in mind. And in Takoma Park, we've been looking at how do we create these public squares for people to gather and to easily get to by walking or biking. And we also need to make sure these public squares are near our public transit. So COVID, with all of its difficulties, did bring some opportunities to us. And we were able to explore a pilot project on closing one of our main streets so that people could gather and that we could have more areas for biking and walking. And we're looking at extending that now for the future. The Global Covenant of Mayors provides so many advantages and benefits to our city, and not just for me as the mayor here in Takoma Park, but also for our staff. For example, our sustainability manager recently attended a meeting of the Global Covenant of Mayors and IURC. During that meeting, she was able to talk with and get examples from around the world from other sustainability managers. And one of the things that she brought home was a pilot project that we are putting in place now to help us advance our goals of helping people move off gas stoves to induction stoves. So we're starting a program where people can come to the city and can borrow a portable induction stovetop to bring home and cook on and see how wonderful it can be to use induction stovetops. So we've been working hard on implementing our plan and have a number of ways that we have really started to do this work and have advanced our goals. The first is to help low and moderate income homeowners to decarbonize and move towards electrification in their homes. We've done this by providing grants and technical assistance so that people can put in place new weatherization, move towards electrification, install new appliances, and many things. In addition to helping homeowners, we're also working with folks who own our multifamily buildings to help them move towards electrification. And one project we're really excited about is working with an owner who is moving away from an old gas furnace, an old gas water pump, to doing it more on electrification and putting in place all new appliances for the people who live there. This is a very exciting project as we move away from gas to electrification. Another area that we've been working on in the city is improving the infrastructure for folks who bike. And this is very important in encouraging biking. So we've looked at adding new bike lanes as well as additional bike racks in our public areas, and in particular looking at people who live in multifamily buildings, making sure that they have easy access to bike racks and other places to store their bikes so that we're encouraging and increasing bicycling in our community. Another key part of our work on climate change is resiliency, and that has 3 aspects to it. The first is looking at stormwater. We know with the climate change, we're seeing an increase in storms and more rainfall in our community, and we need to do more to prepare ourselves and also mitigate the impacts of stormwater. Takoma Park has already had a very robust stormwater program, but what we're finding is that many of the issues are occurring on private property. So we've put in place a partnership with our residents to increase education about stormwater and to advance projects that are a public-private partnership. The other area is protecting our tree canopy. Trees are so important in our fight for climate change, and Takoma Park already has in place very strong policies and programs to protect our tree canopy, and we need to be doing even more as we see the impact on climate change and what it has on our tree canopy. This is also important as we look at heat zones. in our community. And we've put in place having a cooling center at our community center to make sure that people can come during those hot summer months to cool off. This is particularly important for our older population and folks with pre-existing conditions because the impacts of climate change are real. We've been building a resilient community and we need to do more in the future. The message I would like to leave for my colleagues is that climate change is here now. For so long, we have been talking about how are we going to fight climate change. And the issue right now before us is not only just fighting climate change and reducing our greenhouse gases, but building resilient communities because the impacts of climate are happening right now. And that you can take small steps and big steps at the same time, because it's going to take an all hands on deck approach to really make sure our communities weather these storms.